The Honor 20. It launched at one of the most confusing times for Honor with a lot of uncertainty surrounding the software support and future updates. So I wanted to hold off on my review till we had some clarity on that. Now that we do and things seem to be looking up for Huawei and sub-brand Honor, in today's video, let's see if the Honor 20 is a phone worth spending money on. Hey guys, Ash here from C4eTech. If you do end up liking what you see here, please don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. So let's start off, as always, with the built-in design. The Honor 20 is built like most flagships. Glass to the front and back with an aluminum frame in between. It's one of the more compact flagships today, and it's also pretty light at about 175 grams. So it's quite comfortable to use, or at least comfortable enough as a slippery glass build can be. This is the Midnight Black variant. This one's quite muted. If you want something flashier, there's also a Sapphire Blue option in India. From the look standpoint, the Honor 20, it looks good. It's built solid, but there are a few negatives, a few caveats though. Honor doesn't mention what glass they are using for protection. Then there is no water resistance of any kind, no micro SD slot, and no headphone jack. Honor does include a Type-C to headphone jack converter in the box for what it's worth, and the output via that is decent. There is a single downwards firing speaker. That sounds a little too low for my liking. Now the Type-C port here, it's USB 2.0, but it gets support for Huawei's 22.5 watt supercharger. There is a 3750 mAh battery inside, and the Honor 20 can go from 0 to 60 in about half an hour. Now the battery life itself, it was pretty good. I used the Honor 20 as my primary for a little over a week, for about 10 days, and during that time, I ended most days with at least 30% juice left, and that's with moderate usage. So most people should be able to get through a day on a single charge. The fact that the Honor 20 sports a 7nm chip, Huawei's flagship Kirin 980, that seems to help with the battery life. The other contributing factor would be Magic UI. Now Magic UI is basically MUI rebranded for the Honor 20, and it's built on top of Android 9 Pie. I like how the leftmost panel on the stock launcher has a Google feed. There's also an option to enable the app drawer. I wish Honor would move to swipe instead of a dedicated icon for the app drawer. Now talking about swipe, there are gesture controls and they work well. For security, we have a super fast face unlock along with a fingerprint scanner that's built into the power button. I usually am not a fan of side-mounted fingerprint scanners, but this one, it's one of the fastest scanners I've come across. Touch it and it unlocks. Quite impressive. By the way, I wanted to clarify something. On the top, this is not an IR blaster, it's a proximity sensor. Now most reviews and articles I've come across call it an IR blaster. So when I mentioned it as a proximity sensor in the unboxing, I ended up getting comments like this. So I'm gonna take a minute to clear this up. Number one, here's confirmation from Honor's official support. The Honor 20 does not have an IR blaster. Two, here's the Honor View 20, and as you can see, the proximity sensor and the IR blaster are found up top. Now this IR blaster is not present on the Honor 20. Number 3, here's the phone tester app showing it doesn't have an IR blaster. And for the paranoid amongst you, number 4, here's the phone tester app on the Redmi Note 7 Pro and Mi A3 showing that it does have an IR blaster. So now with that cleared up, let's get back to software. Magic UI here is fast and fluid. The Kirin 980 under the hood makes things like portrait mode for video possible. When it comes to gaming, the Honor 20 had no trouble running pretty much any game available. While the Mali G76 MP10 GPU might technically not be as powerful as the Adreno 640 from a Snapdragon 855, it's still powerful enough to run any game thrown at it smoothly. Honor's GPU Turbo is also supposed to help with this. The games not only ran well, but they also look good doing so. That's thanks to that 6.26-inch display. This is IPS LCD though. At this price point, we've come to expect AMOLED these days, so that's a bit of a disappointment. That said, this is a nice Full HD Plus LCD panel. It's sharp, it's got natural colors, excellent viewing angles, and it's plenty bright. The selfie camera sits in this punch hole up top. Most times, the punch hole didn't bother me. When you game or watch a video, your hand ends up covering it, and when on the home screen, wallpapers like this kind of help mask it. If you really hate it, Honor lets you black out the entire top. The selfie camera here, it's a 32 megapixel f2.0. It shoots pretty good selfies. There's ample detail, good skin tones, And the dynamic range, it's excellent for a selfie camera. With portraits, you get pretty good edge detection, not only with selfies but also with the rear camera. There is a 2 megapixel depth sensor that helps with this. Overall, the Honor 20 has 4 cameras to the back. The primary is a 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 with a f1.8 lens. It does quite well under good light. Look at the dynamic range in this shot. The highlights in the sky are not blown out, and at the same time the shadows on the balcony, they still have detail. The colors are also on point, like here the green's not in your face, it's quite natural. The images are well detailed too. Now, like all IMX586 implementations, this one also shoots 12 megapixels by default, and you can switch to 48 megapixels if you want to get more detail. There's also a 48 megapixel AI ultra clarity option that, like the night mode, takes a few seconds, but it gets better results than the regular shot. Here's an example. Punching in, you see the leaves of the tree, you see how they are jagged on the 12 megapixel shot, and how well defined they are with the AI 48. Here's another example. You can see the difference even more clearly here. For low light, the Honor 20 gets a dedicated night mode option, and this helps with the low light performance. It's pretty impressive. Brightens up the images while also keeping the noise levels low. Here are a couple more examples. The second sensor, it's a 16 megapixel sensor with a f2.2 ultra wide lens. As you can see, it continues to impress with excellent dynamic range and colors. Generally, with the ultra-wides, we see these take a dip, but that's not the case here. Honor's done well. The third sensor, we've already seen that's the 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now the fourth one, the final one, this is unique. It's a 2 megapixel macro camera. It lets you get super close to your subject. I've not seen this on any other phone till date, and for the moment you're only getting it with the Honor 20. I had fun playing around with this mode. As for video, the Honor 20 can only do up to 4K at 30 FPS. It gets EIS at that resolution though. Honor actually calls it AIS or AI Image Stabilization. You know, fancy marketing apart, this is electronic stabilization and it's been well implemented. The footage is detailed, the colors and exposure are on point. If you want smoother footage, you can go with 1080p 60. That also has EIS or AIS by the way. Now, the 6128 Honor 20 is priced at 33,000 rupees here in India, pitting it right against the OnePlus 7. The Honor 20 has a couple of extra camera sensors and a better selfie camera. It's a bit more compact and the Kirin 980 inside is almost on par with the Snapdragon 855. So is it worth the price? Should you actually buy it? Now before answering that, let's take a look at the competition. You know, we saw what the OnePlus 7 does. I mean, it also offers an AMOLED panel, UFS 3.0, USB 3.1 Type-C, day-to-day water resistance, and if you're okay going LCD, then you've got the Asus 6Z that's priced cheaper and comes with an all-screen display and that excellent flip camera setup. Now we also have the Redmi K20 Pro, which offers an all-screen AMOLED, multiple cameras, Snapdragon 855, all at a cheaper price. So back to my original question, should you buy the Honor 20? The Honor 20 is a good phone. Whatever it needs to do, it does well. But this segment, as we've seen, is pretty competitive and there are multiple other options here. So at the current price at least, I'd say do not go for this unless you really like the cameras and you really want an Honor phone. But if it gets a price cut, which it probably will, then it becomes a great deal. So there you have it, my 2 cents on the Honor 20. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my conclusion? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this review. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.